And I don't want to sound like I'm some kind of prude, but when you actually look at it, and prime example, I want to see what your view is on this one. Miley Cyrus. Yeah, little girl put out through Disney, all, you know, this love and light kind of thing, and then all of a sudden becomes a pop star, and the immorality that's displayed there is like complete opposite of what she was portrayed as a child. What are your views on that example?
That's the way they get you so often. They start off by putting a celebrity into the public spotlight with a particular persona. And with Disney, it's always the same, because Disney have got previous in this. And the Disney Corporation is very far from the nice, family-friendly, cuddly, pleasant image that they like to portray of themselves on the surface. There's a researcher called Carl James who did a presentation last year on the dark side of Disney. And I'd certainly recommend anyone that doesn't yet understand the true nature of the Disney Corporation to have a look at that presentation. I think it's on YouTube. So he broke down what Disney is really all about and what some of their affiliations have been, some of the occult groups they've been connected with, the military-industrial complex, military intelligence. They've worked hand in hand with all these types of organizations. And you might like to ask yourself why an organization that's supposed to be all about children's entertainment has links with all these kind of nefarious organizations. So Disney is actually a very dark, satanic organization, and it's been very key in mind-controlling children over the decades. There are suspicions among some researchers that many of their facilities are actually used to mind control victims of satanic ritual abuse. And when it comes to many of the stars that they serve up, such as Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Justin Timberlake, and Miley Cyrus, they start off being presented as being these wholesome girl next door types. In the case of Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Miley Cyrus, who started out as Hannah Montana. So they're kid friendly. So parents see these characters and they think, oh, this seems appropriate. This seems nice. I'll let my kids watch this. Hannah Montana seems like a nice girl. And so the kids become fans of Miley Cyrus. They get to know who she is through this persona. And then there comes a point where they suddenly switch. And they go from being this wholesome girl next door type to being these full-on pornographic satanic sluts, which is the persona that they then take on. Look at what Miley Cyrus has been doing on stage over the past few years. There was one video where she was dressed as a baby and she's touching herself up. I mean, how sick is that? What a mix of imagery we're getting there. And her stage shows are just straight out. It's like watching a porn show, basically. And there's a time and a place for everything, okay? You know, pornography has its place, and if people want to watch that, that's great. But in the appropriate setting. And I would suggest that an appropriate setting for pornography is not in a show that's going to be watched by a large number of very young kids. The fan base for Miley Cyrus would have been girls from the age of probably 8 or 9 upwards to the early teens. The kind of behavior that she's been displaying on stage is not appropriate for that kind of audience, and it's pretty obvious that she's been used to debase and corrupt the mindsets of these kids that are going to be exposed to all this stuff. It was the same thing with Britney Spears. She went down a similar path. Christina Aguilera the same way, and they often start them out like this. When you think back to Rihanna, when she first emerged, her first record was called If It's Lovin' That You Want. And it was this nice, pleasant, breezy, kind of Caribbean-flavored pop tune, very innocent. Nobody could really object to anything in it. A few years later, she's making records like Bitch Better Have My Money, and she's ripping people's hearts out in videos and toting machine guns and portraying all this dark occult satanic imagery. So that's the way they get you. They start out innocent and pure seeming, and then further down the line they switch them. By that point they've got the fan base. The fan base gets swept along with whatever their idols and their heroes are doing, and that's the path they end up going down. This is what cultural heroes are all about, and this is why I'm suggesting in the book that it's very dangerous for people to have heroes in celebrities, because we don't really know these people. We think we do, but we're going by their public personas. So whether it's a favorite sports star, whether it's a politician you might admire, whether it's a Hollywood actor that you love, whether it's a musician, whether it's a television presenter, whether it's a supermodel, what you're getting is the glossy, public relations version of this individual, the Wikipedia version, the official version of everything. But you don't know who these people are. You don't know where they've come from. You don't know what affiliations they have. You don't know what they're doing in their life away from the spotlight. And you don't know what they're being used for. So when you follow these heroes and you elevate them to godlike status, you're putting yourself in a very dangerous position. When it comes to the electronic dance music scene, it absolutely astounds me the kind of following that some of these producers and DJs have. There's this one guy, Paul van Dyk, who's a German dance music producer and DJ. And occasionally I go on his Facebook page just to see what shows he's been doing lately and just to keep up with his activities, because I do document him in the book. There's lots to know about this guy. There's lots to know about the symbolism that goes into his stage shows. There's lots to know about the type of festivals that he's selected to perform at. When you look at some of the comments on his fan page, you've got hundreds of thousands of people that are completely starstruck, and they've elevated this guy to literally a godlike status. They're making comments like, "You've changed my life. You've saved my life. I follow everything that you do. I would give anything to meet you. I want to bow down at your feet and worship you." These are the kinds of comments that you get from people towards someone that they've never met. They're just going by the public version of them. Very dangerous to give away your own power and to externalize to people that you actually know nothing about. And we've got to get to a stage where we stop having these heroes, because heroes can always disappoint you, and they always do.